It is also important to note and to remember that it's actually okay to not be okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ustaz Aniq Faris and I am currently working as a youth development officer at Al Islam Mosque. And today I have been invited by GERTV to talk about a topic called Cannot Make It. Now, when we think about the topic itself, for the most part, I think it centralizes around the fact that as human beings, we tend to go through several hardships in life. And these hardships can be defined as a loss of loved one, peer pressure, relationship problems, family problems, and so on and so forth. Which then actually results in us feeling very demotivated, and we tend to sometimes get overwhelmed by feelings of sadness and despair, or just simply wanting to give up on life. So I think first and foremost, as a Muslim, the first course of action that we have to take is actually to have a very strong sense of patience. Now, Allah mentions in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 155, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And we will surely test you with something of fear, hunger, loss of wealth, loss of life, and the fruits that we bear. But glad tidings to those who are patient. So it's actually best for us to stay patient, stay hopeful, and have trust in Allah that what we are experiencing will surely come to pass. Because Allah will never burden a soul with more than what he or she can bear. On the topic of burden itself, I think when someone is actually experiencing a problem or facing hardships in life, for them to actually shoulder that burden is a very heavy thing to do. And that is why the solution to that is actually to have a very strong support circle. Now, what I mean by a strong support circle is basically to have someone that we can reach out to, who can listen to our problems and also help us in facing the issue itself without any judging coming from them. And this could be in the form of a loved one, first and foremost, such as our parents, our family, our friends, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, and it could even be a mentor. Because not all problems need to be solved, some just need to be heard. And as much as we don't want to admit it, we actually sometimes do want to have someone who can listen to our problems without judging. And having someone that can listen to us, it may further inspire us to actually do better in life. And that comes to the other point that I'm trying to make, which is to find solutions and actually to exhaust ways to get ourselves out of that slump. So Allah mentions in the Quran that He will not change the condition of a people or person until they change what is in themselves. So if we want to have a better turn at life, we need to actually make an extra effort to get ourselves out of that, out of feeling very demotivated and very sad. And just like with school, if we want to pass a specific examination, a specific paper or subject, we will actually study hard for it. And it's the same with life. If we want to come out and overcome our problems and issues, efforts need to be made too. And Allah also mentions in the Quran, and this is actually a very popular verse, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Now, verily with every hardship comes ease. Now, if we were to look at this verse in a linguistic point of view, the word al-usra, hardship, that is used in the verse is described in Arabic as a definite noun, which basically means it's specific. Whereas the word yusra that is used in the verse is described in Arabic as an indefinite noun, which means it's general. So what Allah is trying to tell us is basically, for every one hardship that we face in life, there exists a multitude of possibilities and solutions for us that comes with ease. And we need to actually remember that Allah will always make a way for us no matter what. Looking at it from another perspective can actually help further broaden the possibilities of us coming up with more than one solution to our specific problem. And in coming up with a solution, I think most of us generally miss out on this point, which is actually to practice the concept of tawakkul. Now, what tawakkul means is basically to rely on Allah and leave things up to Him at the end of the day. Because as humans, our problem today is that we tend to indulge in short-lived pleasures and also instant gratification. We may fall into the trap of wanting to do or wanting to have something that we may think is good for us, but in reality it's the total opposite. So having to trust Allah and also to rely on Him is essential, because Allah provides us with what we need. He will always provide us with what we need, but it doesn't necessarily mean that He will give us what we want. So there's actually a clear difference between what we need and what we want, and Allah will always provide the former thing instead of the latter. So having to practice the concept of tawakkul to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, I personally feel, an important and crucial criteria that every practicing Muslim should abide to. And I think one of the most important points that is actually very impactful and also very dangerous at the same time is that we often tend to compare our lives with others. Now, social media has actually corrupted our minds into making us compare what we have with what others have. We forget that what people choose to show on social media is what they want us to see, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually happy with their lives, because I think for every individual, we actually face a different set of hardships and challenges, and it is up to us to go through that process without having to burden ourselves with extra baggage by comparing ourselves with them in the first place. And finally, despite all my points or all the points that I have said, it is also important to note and to remember that it's actually okay to not be okay. It's okay for us to have difficult moments or phases in life where we are often feeling very demotivated, very sad and very confused. But what's not okay is to actually stay in that space of thought for too long. So cut yourself some slack, rest when you need to, indulge when you need to, and do whatever you have to get yourself out of feeling that way in the first place. And inshallah, your life will start to gradually turn for the better. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the patience in overcoming our hardships and obstacles in life. May He aid us throughout the whole journey, and may He also bless us with constant care and blessings in this life and also the hereafter. So here's to a more fulfilling and happy life. I'm Ustaz Aniq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Many orphans do not have the opportunity to learn the Quran. People in rural areas do not even have access to Mus'haf. By performing Waqaf Quran, you can help give them the chance to learn it. Bestowing a Quran Braille is also an option to allow those visually impaired to read the Quran. At $20 per Mus'haf and $195 per Quran Braille, your donations will be gifted to someone in need, and its rewards will follow you to Akhirah. Go to www.globalihsanrelief.org to donate.